Yellowstone God of War came to the door.
You Jimmy?
And this guy still looked confused.
I'll take that as a yes.
The rip in the room burned red with a Y-shaped iron.
Fucking psycho, wait!
Brand it and no one will ever bully you again. Jimmy gritted his teeth and tore off his clothes. The Yellowstone clan takes special care of newcomers. Old Dutton personally taped Jimmy's hands and feet to the saddle with duct tape to prevent him from falling off.
I don't know nothing about horses.
Now you're getting a crash course, Jimmy.
The old cowboys started gathering to watch the spectacle. Some even went further, $20 on the saddle. Then this happened. Only Jimmy didn't know this horse was the one Casey just gifted to old Dutton. Even after decades of breaking horses, he kept getting thrown off, utterly untamable. This was Jimmy's welcome gift to becoming a Yellowstone man. But to everyone's surprise, Jimmy managed to hang on for hours without calling it quits. Before sunset, the horse finally settled down. By then, Jimmy was covered in bruises. But the old hands always picked on the weakest link. Jimmy collapsed on his bunk, wanting to delay his bath. His burly roommate, disgusted by the stench, came over ready to beat him.
Hey, man! This looks like you taking that shower now, Jimmy! Going, get the fuck off!
But when the big guy saw the Yellowstone brand on Jimmy's chest, he instantly backed down. Turns out there are two kinds of cowboys at Yellowstone. Those without the brand are just hired hands, while those with the brand are true Yellowstone men who won't tolerate being bullied by outsiders. One day while herding cattle, unlucky Jimmy fell from his horse, injured and left behind by the main group. That's when he spotted another young cowboy who'd also been left behind. Pushing through the pain, he carried the young cowboy back to the ranch. This act finally earned him and earned the old-timers respect.
This cowboy's a kid's right there, Jimmy.
And someone grew jealous. Yep, it was that same reckless big guy from before.
Feeling saucy, boy?
A popular phrase was on everyone's lips in Yellowstone, but only Jimmy was getting beaten. Skinny little Jimmy was no match for the big guy. The big guy showed no mercy. Jimmy couldn't win, but he fought like hell anyway. This scene finally caught by the big brother. One explosive throw, as easy as an eagle snatching a chick.
Fred, you wanna fight somebody, you come fight me! I'll fight you all goddamn day!
Big brother ripped open Jimmy's shirt, forcing the other to see the Yellowstone brand.
That means don't fucking touch Fred!
Then he told Jimmy,
These guys, they just work here, Jimmy. You'll see 1,000 of them come and go, but not us. We die here. This is your family. We're your family.
That very night, Big Guy was expelled from Yellowstone Ranch. Old Cowboy drove him to the train station, but just past the state line, the car stopped.
What are you doing? This ain't no goddamn train station! Sure it is.
This was the fate of those who moved Yellowstone's people. The rugged spirit of Yellowstone folks, even life on an Indian reservation couldn't dampen it. Keith wanted to pull out a tree stump. Clearly, the tractor couldn't budge it, but he insisted on forcing it.
Fuck! God!
His fiery temper flared. He grabbed an axe and started hacking. Not satisfied, he went to fetch a barrel of explosives. He told his son to hide inside, but the boy insisted on watching the show.
Porch ain't inside.
I don't care.
Suit yourself.
Then he took out the stump SEAL team style. But the blast uncovered a pile of dinosaur fossils. What Casey didn't know was trouble was already on its way. Last time we saw, Big Brother Lytton got shot by Casey's Indian brother-in-law. Casey shot the brother-in-law in self-defense. Police initially ruled it a shootout between Lytton and his brother-in-law. In a shootout. But clues soon surfaced. The governor personally summoned Jamie, the second brother. Reports showed Lee's fatal shot hit his C7 vertebra, paralyzing him from the chest down and rendering him helpless. Meaning someone else shot the Indian brother-in-law. This easily pointed fingers at Casey, though the coroner hadn't reached a conclusion yet. Once the conclusion is reached, it will be reported to the Indian Affairs Bureau, the FBI, and the state police. At that point, the matter will continue to escalate, and both Keith and the Dutton family will face serious consequences. Jamie returned to report to his father. Old Dutton specifically sought out Keith for this matter. Keith remained tight-lipped, but the more he refused to speak, the more certain old Dutton became that Keith had executed his Indian brother-in-law. He had already lost one son. No matter the cost, he couldn't afford to lose another. To clear Keith of intentional homicide charges, 3 things needed to be resolved. First, 2 Bureau of Land Management agents had personally witnessed Keith returning Lee's body to Yellowstone Ranch. Old Dutton had to step in personally to silence them. One of the agents was the son of an old friend of his. This was relatively straightforward. During the process, the 2 old friends had a heart-to-heart.
All you do with a daughter is just try to keep her from getting screwed. All you do with a son is try to keep him from screwing himself.
The second agent was unknown to him, but reportedly a devout churchgoer. And the priest at that church owed old Dutton a favor from years ago.
I'm collecting old debts, Bob.
For a priest to silence a parishioner, that was a piece of cake. The second matter was destroying evidence that Lee couldn't have fired the gun after being shot. The solution? Ensure they could never perform another autopsy. This required old Dutton to make a major decision. But reason always prevails in the strong. He ordered men to exhume his eldest son's body that very night, placing it in the farm's horse crematorium furnace.
This oven will incinerate a horse in an hour.
Meanwhile, his own presence had led to his brother's death, and he'd personally killed his brother-in-law. This tormented Casey, burdened by guilt toward both his family and his wife. Unable to bear the mental strain, he contacted his superiors, deciding to return to the SEALs and deploy to Wildman. He informed his wife Monica, but the truth was, perhaps some sins could never be forgiven.
If I give you this spy, will you stay?
Yeah, there is.
His brother-in-law's widow, unable to bear the loss of her husband and the burden of raising 3 children alone, chose to end her life with a gunshot. The sound was piercingly harsh. Land disputes had already brought misfortune to so many living on this soil. Meanwhile, old Dutton, having cleared Casey of blame, had one final act to perform. War God Rip arrived at the coroner's office. He never drags his feet or causes the deceased undue suffering. The coroner has a peculiar habit. He places corpses in the farm's horse crematorium and inhales the corpse decomposition agent, essentially drug use. This allows the prosecutor to define the coroner as high on the fumes, causing a major explosion. With that, Casey's crisis is completely resolved. Meanwhile, old Dutton remains determined to reclaim his herd. This time, he employed the harshest tactics, pressuring the judge to rule the Indian chief's actions as theft.
If you're saying no, say it to me, Margaret. Then I'll tell you what no cost.
Here, there was no justice, no special reservation rights, and no law to speak of, only the exchange of interests and bargaining chips. The day the Indian chief left the reservation, he was arrested by the white police. The result? The Indian reservation obediently returned the remaining cattle to the Yellowstone Ranch. This battle the chief lost. Developer Daniel hoped the Bureau of Land Management would file charges against old Dutton for altering the river course, but the Bureau officials said,
He moved a tributary on his land. I don't have any recourse. And even if I did, there's not a jury in this county that will convict John Dutton of anything.
That concludes the main events of Yellowstone Season 1 and Seasons 2 and 3. The first conflict concluded. Old Dutton, having schemed relentlessly, emerged victorious. Yet he was already battered and bruised. His family remained fractured, and no one in the clan accepted him. He sought solace in the quiet of the stable. Having just finished a day's work, their conversation was deeply moving. The once rebellious, troubled youth was increasingly becoming a responsible cowboy. Before, his family members were either dead or in prison. He was no exception. It was his grandfather, Chief Old Dutton, who took him in. Now it seemed his fate was turning.
When his wife died, it killed the whole family. So it says something, sir. that you kept yours together.
It killed mine too. Just taking it longer to die.
In truth, old Dutton's urgency to find a successor stemmed from the fact that he was already in deep trouble.